I am here today in Bay Village, and I'm on the new Cahoon Basin Trail. It's a trail that's been built right along the Cahoon Creek in Bay Village, and it's just a beautiful little trail. It's only about a quarter of a mile long, but very scenic. This is the valley down here where the Cahoon Creek runs, and for years it was just a disc golf course. I don't think it got much use, but now they've turned it into a very nice trail here, paved trail that runs all the way through the park. Very scenic. And up along the hillside here, you've got a number of historic buildings here in Bay Village. And today, with all the fall scenery, it's just very beautiful. I'm going to walk over here by the creek and get a view of the creek. It's a little wet. The ground's wet, so I got to watch where I step. But you get a view here of the Cahoon Creek that many people have never really seen from this vantage point before, because this area, like I said, unless you were playing disc golf, not so many people walk through here, but you could just see how beautiful it is. Very rocky, like a lot of the creeks are in northeast Ohio, with a lot of trees. Very, very beautiful. Here's another view looking north. And it is a pretty steep valley here that this creek has carved over hundreds of thousands of years, I'm sure. But you can see over there, the hillside's probably maybe 35 feet high, very similar to the rest of the cliffs along the Porter Creek and the Tuttle Creek. But just a really pretty new trail that they built here in Bay Village. I got to hand it to the city officials. They did a great job. And I'm down here now on the creek. And again, you could just take a look at it here. It's really a beautiful sight. Here's another access point to the trail off of Cahoon Road here. And again, up on the hillside there, you can see one of the historic buildings. Right beside it is a very large pine tree, probably about 100 feet tall. But just a very picturesque sight down here. Now I'm going to walk over to this little log cabin that they have here and see what this is all about. Call it the Cahoon Memorial Cabin, and it looks like a Mr. John Brandt was instrumental in organizing the design and construction of this Cahoon Memorial Cabin. So obviously this is paying respect to history here, when I'm sure there were settlers' cabins along this creek. But just very nice. Now I'm going to continue walking up just to give you a vantage point of where we are. That is Lake Road up there. You can see the truck going over that bridge, and that bridge was just replaced last year, I think. So it's a brand new bridge. So this whole area was new, and what they did very smartly is when they built this bridge, they had the state of Ohio build this space where they could, build a trail. Very smart, because now what was cut off before the access to Lake Erie is now wide open. So you can see I'm walking here under the Lake Road Bridge, or I think they call it the Cahoon Creek Bridge. And right out there is Lake Erie. So I've walked down now to the mouth of Cahoon Creek, where it enters Lake Erie here at the Bay Boat Club. You can take a look at it right there. And they have a pier out there. And you can see in the distance, I'm going to focus in, give you the view of downtown Cleveland from this vantage point. You can see it out there. A little hazy, but still have a very good shot of it. And here's a vista of Lake Erie. I've walked out now to the edge of this little peninsula that they have here in Bay Village, and I read that they're going to be developing this, but it's a great vantage point. You know, again, most people have probably never been out here, but just look at that view. Look at the cliffs along Lake Erie. You got down there where those people were standing, that's all Huntington Beach. And they've got these big rocks here as a break wall, I'm sure, to protect this from erosion. But wow, out there you can see Avon Point. When you look on the map, that's the area along the north shore of Ohio that sticks out. But wow, what a view. This particular site, depending on what they do with it, could be a real tourist attraction, I'm sure. See all the boats out on the lake there. Really nice, a lot of possibilities here. I'm walking up now to take a look at some of the historic buildings that they have here in the park. I'm going to draw back a little bit so I can focus as I go up the steps. So I've come up top now to take a look at some of the historic buildings up close. This one is the Cahoon Barn, built in 1882, so it's what, 138 years old. Very cool building. Looks great too with the fall colors. You can get a close-up look at it here. A lot of character on this building. And that's the one we were looking at from down in the valley. Very cool. You can see the park's got a nice gazebo. Let me take another look at the building here to show you. It's got a steeple on the top with, you know, again with the fall flowers and the fall foliage. It's just really can't ask for a better fall picture than that. Really nice. Walk down here to see what these other buildings are. Got a few more. Okay, I've come a little further down, and this is the Rose Hill Museum. Another historic building in this little complex here. This was once the Rose Hill Museum and Library, built in 1818, so 202 years old. Wow. Museum is temporarily closed, I'm sure because of the pandemic, but it's great to see a building like this restored and maintained. a Bay Village landmark, the Joseph Cahoon House. There's a little more information about it there. Really nice. And again, down below here, you can see the log cabin we were looking at and a view of the valley. Out in front here, they've got historic gristmill stones from 1813. Got a bench here, which I'm sure was from about that same period. Here's the stones here, one of them, and then another one here. Great that the city preserves this history, because once it's gone, you know, it's gone forever, unfortunately. So it's great that a city like Bay Village preserves this. Walking over now to this next building, and this is now the Osborne Learning Center. And this is another house, 1814. And it looks like they came from Connecticut, so this was probably part of that Western Reserve movement that happened around that time. So this building too is 206 years old. The Reuben Osborne House. Wow. Really, really neat. And you can get a good look here of the rest of the park. Over there, across the street, those are soccer fields. And then over here, along the lake, they've got a half-mile walking park. It's great to see all the people out too today. Of course, it's a beautiful day in the fall, but there's probably about 25, 30 people out walking, enjoying the fall colors and just beautiful weather. It's probably around 70 degrees and light breeze, beautiful sunshine, and this is November 6th, so you're not going to get many more of these days in 2020.